This year, the discussion on budget 2022 is going to be really special. Why? Because this time we are going to have industry experts who are going to share their views on our YouTube channel. But who are they? Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to an amazing and interesting video which is my expectations from budget 2022. So this is going to be a different video. This is not shot on green screen, no editing, nothing. It's going to be a one take video. So let's see how the entire video pans out, right? So to begin this video, let me just give you some basics about our budget, right? So what is presented in the budget is something like financial statements only. So if I'm talking about any businessman, be it an individual or be it a corporate house, any businessman is interested in three things. How much have I earned? That is nothing but top line revenue. How much are my expenses? And how much is my profit or loss? Okay. So like we have a profit and loss account for an individual or for a company, be it listed or a normal. Similarly, you can imagine there is a profit and loss statement prepared for our country. So we'll be talking about India's income, we'll be talking about India's expenses and India's profit or loss. But wait, instead of using the word profit or loss for India, we use the term surplus or deficit. Okay. Now, any idea on generally India is in deficit or surplus? Answer is we are always in a deficit. Okay. So whenever this deficit figure is presented, that is generally presented as a percentage of GDP. Okay, so for example, our finance minister will say that our GDP, our deficit, target deficit is, let us say, 6% of GDP. Okay, that is how that will be portrayed. So if I were to give you some base points, please understand this. For financial year 2022, our total collections income basically has been projected to be around 25 lakh crores. Okay, so if I'm talking about, why am I using the word projected? Because 22 is not yet over. No, we still have 1 or 2 months remaining, right? So total income expected is how much? 25 lakh crores. Okay. What is the expenses figure estimated? It is around 41 lakh crores. So something like amdani attani kharcha rupiya na. So income is how much? 25 lakh crore. Income is expected to be 25 lakh crore. Expense is expected at 41 lakh crore. So what is the deficit? Deficit is expected to be 16 lakh crores. Okay. Now how much is this as a percentage of GDP? The bracket is roughly around 6 to 6.5% of GDP. Okay. Now please understand. Is this something like to be really worrying? No. Why? Understand, government had told that we are expecting our deficit in this same range only, 6 to 6.5% of GDP. And actually we are expecting that it will be in the similar range. Okay. Many people are saying that, oh, because of the pandemic, maybe deficit might increase and this might go to what, 7% plus levels. But hoping that this might not happen. By the way, you might be like, from where did Rachana get all this data about incomes, expenses? There is a website, indiabudget.gov.in. Okay, very reliable source, I believe, right? So from there, I have taken these income and expenses figures. Now, as I mentioned, two major things, right? Incomes and expenses. But what is more for India right now? Expenses are more. So let's now focus on spending. Whenever we talk about government spending, there are three major things where government is, or three major routes, I can say, through which government is going to spend. Number one, government can directly give a subsidy or a grant. Okay, le lo, paisa le lo, subsidy de diya, right? Second, government can spend on CAPEX. Okay, CAPEX is what? Capital expenditure. And third, I can say somewhere in between of CAPEX and subsidy, there could be something known as a PLI. What is PLI? Production linked incentive. Now, if I were to give you a difference between a subsidy grant, spending by the government on a subsidy grant versus spending by the government on CAPEX, what is the difference? Okay, I believe that these two are needy people. Okay, and I say, so you are hungry. Okay, take a fish in your dish and eat it up. Okay, you are also hungry. Wait, but I'm not going to give a fish in your dish. I'm going to give you, I'm going to empower you. I'm going to spend some money on you. wherein I'll give you certain training on how to fish. Maybe I can give you some incentive for buying a fishing rod. Okay, now what am I doing in this case too? I'm empowering that person to earn income for the coming years. But in the first case, once he eats up that fish, again problem for that person, right? So quickly tell me, what is the short-term solution? Is it CAPEX spending or is it giving a grant or subsidy? Short-term solution is giving a grant or subsidy. But what is a sustainable solution? Sustainable solution is CAPEX. I hope you have understood the difference between these two. Okay, so which could be the sectors where we can expect subsidies or grants? Ideally, where there is a lot of pain right now. Where is the pain? Hospitality sector, we have a lot of pain. Aviation sector, there's a lot of pain, of course, because of COVID thing. Okay, even agriculture, there is a lot of pain right now. I believe that agriculture can be a focus, because not only because it needs some help right now, but also because of the upcoming elections, and especially in the states of UP and Punjab, where agriculture is pretty important. I think there can be some specific subsidies, grants, some boost given by the government for this sector, right? Plus, I believe some focus has to be given on MSME sector. Why? Because in India right now, tier 2, tier 3, the rural economy can give a big boost to our nation, right? So that is the reason why I believe that subsidies or grants can be received in these specific sectors. Now coming to CAPEX, okay, where government itself is spending a lot on capital expenditure. Typically, two sectors I'm looking at. Number one, infrastructure, and number two could be defense. Now understand, whenever government does a lot of capital expenditure, is this a one-time effect or is this going to create a ripple effect? Ideally, it will create a ripple effect. How? Let's understand. Government first will spend on, let us say, roads. Okay, now will there be automatically an employment generation here? Yes. Will the income for that company who is making the road increase? Yes. Will it hire more and more people? Yes. In turn, the employees' income will also increase. If employees are earning more, they'll spend more. So the consumption story will get a push. Now, more income, more consumption can lead to more inflation. Oh my God, I'm getting a feeling that I'm giving an economics class, right? But let's focus, let's take back to basics. Are we really are we really worried about inflation right now? Answer is no. India is very well within the limits of our inflation target, right? Why? Because we are still getting real returns. Okay, so how do we calculate real returns? Typically a 10-year government security yield as compared to how much is the inflation right now. Are we in positive right now? Yes. But a country like USA is also crying right now, because their inflation is a super huge problem that they are facing right now. Okay, so even if we give more and more boost for CAPEX, increasing income, increasing consumption, we will still be absolutely fine, right? I hope you have understood this thought process about CAPEX. Now let's talk about certain figures. CAPEX was roughly in the range of 5.5 lakh crore. Lakh crore is what? Trillion. So 5.5 trillion for what? Financial year 22. And let's at least hope that this figure goes at least from 5.5 lakh crore to 6.5 lakh crores. So I hope you have understood about CAPEX as well. Coming to PLI. Now, what is PLI? Performance linked incentive. I can say this is like, so assume I'm the government, okay. I say, I don't want to spend on machinery. I don't want to spend lakhs and crores of rupees right now to build something. Okay, what do I tell you? You own a company. You do the CAPEX. Okay, you spend on plant. You spend on machinery. I'll give you a target. Okay, if you invest X amount in plant and machinery, and if you manufacture, if your production is up to this level, well and good, very good. The moment you are manufacturing more than this, I'm going to incentivize you. That is why PLI is what? Production linked incentive. Okay, more and more you produce. If you beat that expectation of the government, if you're a super achiever, I'm going to give you more and more incentives. Okay, so where can this PLI come into picture? I believe textile is an area, is a sector where we can see PLI coming up. We can see certain equipment manufacturing. So you can imagine we are talking about Make in India, na? Something like companies which are going to, I don't want to name any stocks, but just an example which is coming to my mind right now. It could be something like Paras Defense, it could be something like Dixon, who are helping Make in India theme, where a lot of equipments are manufactured in India. Okay, that could also be a sector in focus. Next one could be autos and auto ancillaries, right? Wherein we are now very much focusing on EV theme, about auto ancillaries, EV theme. If you have seen my video, 30 at 30, we are trying that at least 30% of sales in autos should be EVs, that is our target by 2030. So I think some push is expected for the EV area as well. Some push should also be expected in the chip manufacturing segment, because I'm sure everyone knows about the shortage in semiconductor chips, right? I think the focus will also be on green hydrogen. Okay, if we are focusing on green hydrogen, ethanol, what is the main thought process behind this? Please understand, more and more ethanol blending, more and more green hydrogen coming in, will our crude oil bill come down drastically? Yes. And in fact, if you remember, if you have seen my video, EV part 1 video, which I released in this month only, in that I have given you actual figures of how much maddening figure in trillion we are spending on import bill of crude. So can this be reduced to a great extent if we are empowering more and more production of ethanol, green hydrogen? Answer is obviously yes. And in that context only, I believe that some PLIs can be also given on renewable energies as well, right? Something like solar, wind, and similar types, right? So this is where I think I should wrap up my discussion on focus on spending. 3 types of spending I mentioned to quickly wrap up. Number 1, it could be direct subsidy or grant, short-term benefit, long-term benefit, CAPEX, and somewhere in between, PLI. Okay, I hope all 3 are clear. Now the second focus of the government during the budget is on income. Paisa kahan se aayega? Why more and more income is required? Because if more income is generated, then only my deficit figure will shrink, right? Correct, na? So if my income increases and if my expenses are same, then my deficit figure is going to shrink. That is why government feels that focus should also be on increasing the income. So how can the income be increased? Possibly, acha, income means, am I talking only about revenue receipts? No, it could be revenue receipts, or it could be capital receipts. So for those who are from commerce background, they understand these terms, but otherwise you can, it's okay. Receipt, paisa aana chahiye, income aana chahiye, right? How could that be done? Number 1 is monetization of national assets, or simple words, divestment. Okay, can government sell their stake in companies that they are holding a lot of chunk in? Simple example, everyone knows about LIC IPO, which is expected in the month of March 2022, right? Can I say that is a way to do a divestment? Absolutely yes. So if government sells their stake in LIC, are they going to generate a lot of income? Absolutely yes. Okay, so that can be one way to achieve this income for the government, right? Now, big question is, if government is doing more and more of divestment, do our domestic institutional investment have the capacity to buy? Who is giving the supply? Government is giving the supply by selling more and more shares. There should be someone tagda na on the buying side. Who is that? Mutual funds. Now, do mutual funds have a lot of inflows with them? Yes. Mutual funds have more than 11,000 crores of monthly, SIPs, you can say. That is a chunk that they have right now. Okay, so can they easily absorb the supply which government is giving through divestment? Answer is absolutely yes. Now the big question, what was the target of government in this entire disinvestment thing? Target was 1.75 lakh crores. And how much is the actual? 60,000 crores. Is the government falling super short on their disinvestment target? Answer is yes. And has this happened only in this year? No, 3 years back to back, they have fallen short on the divestment target. So I believe that rather than putting many more things on the platter, okay, like if you remember last year they had bought this monetization of asset scheme, then they had bought a bad bank, okay, many things they had brought into the picture last year. Instead of that, focus on whatever is there in your plate right now. Try to focus more on execution rather than bringing more and more new schemes, right? So if they focus more on divestment, I think disinvestment, I believe that can be a very good thing for more and more inflows for the government. Okay, what could be one more point for inflow? Of course, it could be collection, tax collections. And just to give you an important point, my thought process on this, my request to the government, if you know, corporate tax, when it was cut down from 30% to 25%, did the tax collection decrease or did it increase? The tax collection increased. More and more people started to disclose their revenue, and that is where, in spite of a drop in percentage, the total tax collection had increased. Now, I believe that being an individual who is also contributing something to our economy, being an individual who is also generating employment in our country, I am paying 30% tax slab plus surcharge, education cess, whatever. If it is taking my taxation more than 42% maybe, I would love if my tax is in 25% bracket. Na? For a corporate, you are allowing 25%. But for an individual, you are taking 30%. So if if government is listening, and if government feels that it's even for individuals who are also giving some opportunity in the employment, or is also taking some employment generation opportunity, I believe that we also should be given that 25% tax slab, right? Going ahead, I feel for individuals, 80C limit, last 5 years, this limit has remained the same. I believe that 80C limit at least has to be increased. One last point I would like to mention, that LTCG, again, a lot of people have come into the equity markets, into the capital markets during this pandemic. They should be reward by either or of these two. Possibility number one, LTCG could be reduced from 10% to, let us say, 5%. Possibility number one. Possibility number two, it could be something like, right now we have an exemption limit of 1 lakh, correct? If this exemption limit bar is raised to, let us say, 2 lakhs, okay, that can also give some boost. Or if they want to keep LTCG same, at least that STT, security transaction tax, if that is abolished, nothing like it, right? So let's see either or of this, whatever is done by the government. So that was about the focus on income. Moving on to the last segment of this video, what are the special points? I believe that commodity markets should be something which should be focused on right now. Even if you're talking about the options ka volume in stock, in the segment of stocks, that is more than options ka volume on the commodity market. So somewhere, if some boost is given for commodity market, I think that can be a good move. Even if I'm talking about commodity specifically, I'm talking about edible oil here. The import is very high. Our import dependency about edible oil was just 3% in 1992, and now it is more than 50% dependency. So I think somewhere some steps need to be taken about oil seeds production, which has been stagnant in India for quite a long time now, right? Plus, I believe that some hedging opportunities in this commodity side should also be given a little bit more boost. So that was a quick wrap up about commodity market. Second thing, I believe crypto specific bill. Still a lot of ambiguity is there about crypto. Some clarity will be highly appreciated from the government. And the last one is something about PE or VC establishment. See, I believe that right now, if we are wanting to go from somewhere around 2.5 to $3 trillion economy to a $5 trillion economy, I think startups are going to play a major role, right? We have seen a lot of unicorns coming up in our country right now. But what is the use if these unicorns are funded by institutions outside India? I believe that startups should be funded from or within India. So more and more PE establishments, more and more of venture capitalists, I believe that these startups will be funded by purely Indian companies, Indian PEs, Indian VCs. So here the money is within our country only now. It will not go outside, right? So if some section is introduced by the government where there'll be a boost for PEs and VCs, I think that'll be highly appreciated. So let's see how this is looked at. Is government looking at an Atmanirbhar Bharat even from the PE or VC category or not? So again, an interesting point to watch out for. I hope you have understood this entire budget expectation or analysis. We started with some basics of budget, then we talked about expenditure focus, then we talked about income focus, we also talked about some special points to be focused. This is just part 1 of our budget 2022 on our channel. On 1st of February, I'm going to tell you my analysis about budget 2022. On 2nd of February, we are going to have a lot of industry experts who are going to come to our channel and who are going to tell their view about budget 2022. And on 7th of February, we are going to talk about top 3 stocks based on budget 2022. So I hope you have subscribed to the channel and hit the bell icon. Until then, keep on watching, keep on learning. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye-bye.